The morning shift on Station Harmony began like any other for Ben Torres. He carried his tool kit through the endless corridors of the massive diplomatic station, checking his work tablet for the day's repair assignments. The station housed representatives from 47 different species, each requiring specific environmental controls to survive in space. Ben had worked maintenance for 3 years now. He knew every pipe, every wire, and every ventilation shaft in the human sectors. The alien quarters were different though. Those areas required special clearance and careful attention to their unique atmospheric needs. Power coupling malfunction in Section 7 Delta, he read from his tablet. Zilithian Royal Quarters. Ben frowned. The Zilithians rarely reported problems. Their delegation had been on the station for 6 months, but he had never seen any of them outside their sealed section. Most species mingled in the common areas, but the Zilithians kept to themselves. He gathered his equipment and headed toward the restricted area. The security guard at the checkpoint scanned Ben's maintenance credentials and waved him through. The corridor beyond felt different immediately. The air was thicker, with a metallic taste that made Ben's nose wrinkle. The Zilithian quarters were designed like a series of connected chambers, each with its own atmospheric controls. Ben found a faulty power coupling in a maintenance alcove near what his tablet identified as the primary royal chamber. The coupling sparked occasionally, sending brief power surges through the environmental systems. Simple enough, Ben muttered, setting down his tools. He shut off the main power to isolate the coupling. The lights dimmed throughout the section, and he heard the hum of air processors slow to a stop. Standard procedure required him to work quickly when life support was affected, even briefly. Ben removed the burned-out coupling and installed a new one. As he restored power, something went wrong. Instead of the gentle hum of systems coming back online, alarms began blaring throughout the Zilithian section. His tablet flashed red warnings. Atmospheric breach, Chamber 7D1. Environmental containment failure. Emergency protocols active. Ben's heart raced. He had somehow caused a complete environmental system failure in the royal chambers. This was exactly the kind of mistake that could end his career and create a diplomatic disaster. He grabbed his emergency atmospheric scanner and rushed toward the source of the alarms. The door to Chamber 7D1 stood open, which should have been impossible. These chambers were designed to remain sealed during any system failure. "Hello?" Ben called out. "Is anyone in there?" "I'm maintenance crew." No response came from inside the chamber. Ben stepped through the doorway and immediately noticed the difference. The air here felt normal, like the human sections of the station. His scanner confirmed it, standard galactic atmospheric mix, safe for most species. The chamber itself was stunning. Crystalline walls reflected soft blue light from panels embedded in the ceiling. Floating shelves held books and what looked like artistic sculptures. A large bed dominated one corner, its surface covered with fabrics that seemed to shimmer and change color. But there was no one inside. Ben checked his scanner again. The atmospheric readings showed that this chamber had been flooded with normal station air when the environmental systems failed. If someone had been inside breathing Zilithian atmosphere, they would be in serious medical distress by now. He followed a trail of disturbed fabric and knocked over objects that led from the chamber toward the main corridor. Someone had definitely left in a hurry. Ben found her 50 meters down the corridor, collapsed against a wall. She was clearly Zilithian, tall and elegant, with pale blue skin that had an almost luminous quality. Her long silver hair was braided with small crystal ornaments that caught the corridor lights. She wore flowing robes that looked expensive and formal. Most striking were the intricate tattoos that covered her arms and neck in patterns that seemed to move when Ben wasn't looking directly at them. But she was unconscious and breathing with obvious difficulty. "Medical emergency in Section 7 Delta," Ben spoke into his communicator. "I need a human medical team immediately. I have an unconscious Zilithian." "Negative," came the response. "Human medical is not authorized for Zilithian treatment." Contact their diplomatic medical officer. Ben looked at the unconscious woman. She was clearly in distress, and who knew how long it would take to locate the proper Zilithian medical personnel. This is an emergency, he insisted. She needs help now. Maintenance personnel are not authorized to make medical decisions for alien dignitaries. Follow proper protocols. Ben turned off his communicator. Sometimes the right thing and the proper protocol were two different things. He gently lifted the woman in his arms. She was lighter than he expected, and her skin felt warm despite its pale appearance. He could feel her struggling to breathe, but she seemed to be getting air into her lungs. The human medical bay was only 5 minutes away if he took the direct route through the common areas. Ben made the decision and started moving. Dr. Sarah Kim was on duty when Ben burst through the medical bay doors carrying the unconscious Zilithian woman. Ben, what are you doing? Dr. Kim demanded. You can't bring alien patients here without proper clearance. She's dying, Ben said, placing the woman carefully on an examination bed. The environmental systems failed in their section. She's been breathing standard atmosphere for 20 minutes. Dr. Kim ran her scanner over the patient. Her vital signs are actually stabilizing, she said with surprise. This doesn't look like atmospheric poisoning. Ben watched as the doctor worked. The Zilithian woman's breathing was becoming easier, not more labored. Her skin color was improving too, gaining a healthier luminous quality. That's strange, Dr. Kim muttered, checking her readings again. According to her biology, she should be able to process this atmospheric mix just fine. Better than fine, actually. Her oxygen efficiency is off the charts. 20 minutes later, the woman's eyes opened. They were the most unusual color Ben had ever seen, a deep purple that seemed to contain flecks of starlight. She looked around the unfamiliar medical bay with confusion, then focused on Ben. You, she said in accented but clear standard galactic. You are the maintenance person. Ben nodded. I'm Ben Torres. I was fixing the power coupling when your environmental systems failed. Are you feeling all right? She sat up slowly, and Ben noticed something remarkable. She was moving freely, without the careful measured breaths he had observed in other Zilithians. She seemed more alive, more vibrant than before. I feel, she paused, searching for words, different. Better. The air is so easy to breathe. Dr. Kim stepped forward. I'm Dr. Kim. We need to contact your medical officers and get you back to your proper atmospheric environment. The woman looked directly at Ben. What is your name again? Ben Torres. Ben Torres, she repeated, as if testing how it sounded. I am Princess Zira of the 4th Royal House of Zelith. She looked around the medical bay again. This is a human facility? Yes, Dr. Kim said. We need to get you back to your quarters immediately. Prolonged exposure to our atmosphere could be dangerous. Princess Zira stood up from the examination bed. Ben watched in amazement as she took a deep breath and stretched her arms above her head, simple movements that somehow seemed significant. Dangerous? Princess Zira asked. Doctor, I have not breathed this easily in 30 years. Before Dr. Kim could respond, the medical bay doors burst open. 3 Zilithian guards in full environmental suits rushed in, followed by a figure in elaborate medical robes. Your Highness, the medical officer said urgently. You must return to your chambers immediately. The atmospheric contamination could be fatal. Princess Zira looked at the Zilithian medical team, then at Ben, then back at her own people. No, she said quietly. The word hung in the air like a challenge. Your Highness, the medical officer said in confusion. I said no. Princess Zira's voice was stronger now. For the first time in my life, I can breathe without pain. For the first time, I can move without exhaustion. I will not return to that chamber. The lead guard stepped forward. Princess, you must come with us. Your father's orders. Ben watched this exchange with growing understanding. This wasn't about atmospheric poisoning or medical emergency. Something else was happening here, something that had to do with Princess Zira's entire life. Ben Torres, Princess Zira said, turning to face him directly. You have shown me something today that I did not know was possible. Tell me, why did you risk bringing me here? Ben thought about it. Because you needed help, he said simply. That's what humans do. Princess Zira smiled then, and Ben realized he had never seen a Zilithian smile before. It transformed her entire face, making her look younger and more alive. That is what humans do, she repeated thoughtfully. The Zilithian medical officer was growing agitated. Your Highness, every moment you spend in this atmosphere increases the risk of permanent damage to your respiratory system. Then explain to me, Princess Zira said, still smiling, why I feel better than I have felt since I was a child. Ben looked between the princess and her medical team. Something was very wrong with the official story about Zilithian atmospheric needs, at least where Princess Zira was concerned. Dr. Kim cleared her throat. If I may suggest, we could run some tests to determine exactly how the atmospheric differences are affecting the princess. That would give us medical data to work with. Absolutely not, the Zilithian medical officer declared. Human medical procedures are not suitable for Zilithian physiology. Then how do you explain why she's thriving instead of dying? Ben asked. The question created an uncomfortable silence. Princess Zira walked over to the viewing port in the medical bay and looked out at the stars. I have spent my entire life in sealed chambers, she said quietly. I was told it was for my own protection. That my genetic condition made normal atmosphere poisonous to me. She turned back to face everyone in the room. But today, for the first time, I feel alive. Truly alive. The medical bay door chimed, and Ben's supervisor entered with 2 security officers. Torres, his supervisor said sharply. You're in serious trouble. The Zilithian delegation has filed a formal complaint. Ben squared his shoulders. I was helping someone who needed medical attention. You were interfering with alien diplomatic protocols. Princess Zira stepped forward. He was saving my life. Your Highness, Ben's supervisor said more respectfully, we apologize for any inconvenience our employee has caused. We'll return you to your people immediately. I choose to remain here, Princess Zira announced. The pronouncement created chaos. The Zilithian guards moved closer, Ben's supervisor began arguing with Dr. Kim about medical protocols, and the Zilithian medical officer started demanding immediate transport back to their section. Through it all, Princess Zira remained calm, standing by the viewing port and breathing easily in the human atmosphere that was supposedly killing her. Ben realized that his simple maintenance error had become something much bigger than anyone had expected. The standoff in the medical bay lasted 2 hours. Princess Zira refused to leave, while her guards insisted she return to the Zilithian quarters immediately. Ben found himself caught between his own superiors demanding he fix the diplomatic crisis he had created and his growing certainty that something was terribly wrong with the official story. Dr. Kim finally broke the deadlock by suggesting a compromise. Let me run a full medical scan, she offered. If the results show that Princess Zira is being harmed by our atmosphere, she can return to her quarters. If not, we can discuss other options. The Zilithian medical officer objected strongly. Human medical technology is primitive compared to our own. Any scan would be meaningless. Then what are you afraid of? Princess Zira asked quietly. Her question hung in the air. Ben noticed how the Zilithian medical officer avoided making direct eye contact with the princess when she spoke. Very well, the officer said finally. But this scan must be brief, and I will observe everything. Dr. Kim led Princess Zira to the advanced medical scanner. Ben watched as the princess moved with an ease and grace that seemed impossible for someone supposedly suffering from atmospheric poisoning. If anything, she appeared healthier and more energetic than when he had first found her. The scanning process took 30 minutes. Dr. Kim's expression grew more puzzled with each test result that appeared on her screen. Finally, she gestured for Ben to join her at the monitor. "Look at this," Dr. Kim whispered, keeping her voice low enough that the Zalithian medical officer couldn't hear. "Her lung capacity has increased by 20% since she arrived. Her cellular oxygen efficiency is remarkable. And these brain scans show enhanced neural activity in areas associated with problem-solving and spatial reasoning." Ben studied the readouts. Even with his limited medical knowledge, he could see that Princess Zira's body was thriving in the human atmosphere, not struggling against it. "There's more," Dr. Kim continued. "I've been comparing her genetic markers to our database. This genetic variation she supposedly has isn't a flaw. It's an adaptation. Her body is designed to process high radiation environments and variable atmospheric conditions." "You mean she's built for space exploration?" Ben realized. "Exactly. This genetic pattern would be invaluable for long-term space missions or colonizing hostile planets." The Zalithian medical officer approached them. "The scan is complete. Princess Zira must return to her quarters now." Dr. Kim straightened up. "Actually, the results are quite interesting. Her body is adapting remarkably well to our atmospheric conditions." "Impossible," the medical officer snapped. "Her genetic condition makes standard atmosphere toxic to her system." Princess Zira had been listening from the scanning bed. "Dr. Kim, what exactly did your tests show?" Dr. Kim hesitated, glancing at the Zalithian medical officer. "Perhaps we should discuss this privately with your medical team." "No," Princess Zira said firmly. "I want to know what you discovered. Now." Ben stepped forward. "Princess, Dr. Kim found that you're not sick at all. Your body is actually enhanced for this kind of environment." The Zalithian medical officer moved quickly toward Princess Zira. "Your Highness, human medical opinions are unreliable. We must return you to proper care immediately." "Stop," Princess Zira commanded, and her voice carried an authority that made everyone in the room freeze. "Dr. Kim, explain what you found." Dr. Kim took a deep breath. "Your genetic variation isn't a disability, Your Highness. It's an evolutionary advantage. Your body can process different atmospheric mixtures more efficiently than baseline Zalithian physiology. You also show enhanced cognitive function and natural radiation resistance." Princess Zira was quiet for a long moment. Then she began to laugh, a sound that was both joyful and heartbreaking. 30 years, she said. 30 years locked away because I was told I was defective. Unable to leave my chambers. Unable to attend court functions. Unable to travel to other worlds. She looked directly at the Zalithian medical officer. "How many others like me are there?" "Your Highness, you don't understand the complexities of your condition," the medical officer said desperately. "These human readings are incorrect." "Are they?" Princess Zira stood up from the scanning bed and walked to the viewing port again. "Because I feel stronger and clearer than I have ever felt in my life." Ben's communicator buzzed with an emergency alert. He read the message and felt his heart sink. "The Emperor is coming," he announced to the room. "The Zalithian Emperor himself is en route to the station." The Zalithian guards immediately stood at attention. The medical officer began speaking rapidly into his own communicator in the Zalithian language. Princess Zira remained calm. "My father is coming here. Along with a full diplomatic fleet," Ben's supervisor added, having just received the same alert. "This has become a major interstellar incident." Dr. Kim pulled Ben aside. "You realize what this means, don't you? If we're right about her genetic condition, then the Zalithian medical establishment has been deliberately suppressing people with enhanced capabilities." Ben nodded grimly. "And we've accidentally exposed it." "Torres," his supervisor called out. "You're confined to quarters pending a full investigation. This whole situation started with your maintenance error." "Sir, with respect, this isn't about a maintenance error anymore. This is about the truth." The truth is that you've created a diplomatic crisis that could end our alliance with the Zilithian Empire. Princess Zira turned from the viewing port. Ben Torres, she said. May I speak with you privately? Ben's supervisor started to object, but Princess Zira's royal authority overrode him. She led Ben to a small consultation room adjacent to the medical bay. Tell me about human culture, she said once they were alone. Why did you help me when it would have been easier to follow protocol? Ben considered the question. I guess because humans believe that doing the right thing matters more than following rules. When someone needs help, we help them. Even when it costs you personally. Especially then. Princess Zira sat down across from him. I have spent my entire life being told that I was broken. That my very existence was a burden on my family and my people. I accepted this because I had no reason to doubt it. But now you do. Now I do. She smiled again, that transformative expression that seemed to light up the room. Your Dr. Kim showed me that what I was told was a curse might actually be a gift. Do you understand what that means? Ben thought about it. It means you've been living a lie. It means my people have been living a lie. If there are others like me being hidden away, being told they are defective, then this is bigger than just my personal situation. Before Ben could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the station. The Emperor's fleet had arrived. They returned to the main medical bay to find controlled chaos. Station security was coordinating with both human and Zilithian diplomatic teams. Ben's supervisor looked stressed beyond measure. The Emperor is demanding Princess Zira's immediate return and a formal apology from the human government, the supervisor announced. He's also calling for criminal charges against you, Torres. Princess Zira straightened to her full height. He is my father, but I am not a child. I can speak for myself. Your Highness, the Zilithian medical officer said urgently, your father is extremely concerned about your exposure to contaminated atmosphere. He has ordered your immediate medical treatment. What kind of treatment? Dr. Kim asked. The medical officer hesitated. Genetic therapy to correct the damage caused by atmospheric contamination. Ben felt a chill run down his spine. Genetic therapy to correct what damage? She's healthier now than when I found her. You are not qualified to make such determinations, the medical officer snapped. Princess Zira looked thoughtful. This genetic therapy, she said to her medical officer, is it reversible? Why would you want it to be reversible, Your Highness? Answer the question. No, Your Highness. The therapy is permanent. Ben realized what this meant. They wanted to permanently alter Princess Zira's genetics to eliminate her enhanced capabilities. Once that happened, there would be no proof that her abilities had ever existed. Dr. Kim, Ben said urgently, do you still have all the scan data? Of course, but what are you thinking? I'm thinking we need to preserve this evidence before it disappears. Dr. Kim understood immediately. She began copying all of Princess Zira's medical data to multiple storage devices. The medical bay doors opened again, and a figure in elaborate royal robes entered, flanked by a dozen guards. Even without formal introduction, Ben knew this had to be the Zilithian Emperor. He carried himself with absolute authority, and every Zilithian in the room immediately bowed. Princess Zira did not bow. Father, she said simply. Zira, the Emperor replied, his voice cold with displeasure. You will return to your quarters immediately. This embarrassment ends now. I am not embarrassed, Father. I am enlightened. The Emperor's expression darkened. You have been contaminated by alien influence. Dr. Vent will administer the genetic therapy as soon as we return to our ship. Ben stepped forward before he could stop himself. Your Majesty, your daughter isn't contaminated. She's enhanced. The human medical scans prove that her genetic variation gives her extraordinary capabilities. The Emperor turned his attention to Ben for the first time. You are the maintenance worker who caused this incident. I'm the maintenance worker who accidentally discovered that your medical establishment has been lying to you. The statement created dead silence in the medical bay. Dr. Kim stepped forward with a portable display device. Your Majesty, if I may present the medical evidence. Human medical opinions are worthless, the Emperor declared. Then let Princess Zira choose for herself, Ben said. Let her see the data and make her own decision about the genetic therapy. Princess Zira looked at her father, then at Ben, then at the display device in Dr. Kim's hands. I will see the evidence, she announced. The Emperor's face showed the first crack in his composed authority. Ben realized that Princess Zira had just made a choice that would change everything. Dr. Kim activated the portable display device, and Princess Zira studied the medical data with intense concentration. The Emperor stood rigidly beside her, while Ben watched nervously as the princess examined the evidence that could change her entire understanding of herself. These brain scans, Princess Zira said after several minutes, they show enhanced neural activity in multiple regions. Yes, Dr. Kim confirmed. Areas associated with spatial reasoning, problem-solving, and environmental adaptation. Your cognitive abilities are significantly above baseline for your species. Princess Zira continued reading. And these respiratory readings show improved oxygen processing efficiency. 20% better than standard Zilithian physiology. Your body is designed to handle variable atmospheric conditions and high radiation environments. The Emperor stepped closer to the display. Dr. Venth, explain how human medical equipment could produce false readings that appear to show genetic advantages. Dr. Venth, the Zilithian medical officer, shifted uncomfortably. Your Majesty, human medical technology is less sophisticated than our own. These readings are likely calibration errors. Dr. Kim frowned. I can run the same tests using Zilithian medical equipment if you have it available. That won't be necessary, Dr. Venth said quickly. Princess Zira looked up from the display. Why won't it be necessary? If the readings are false, wouldn't Zilithian equipment prove that immediately? Dr. Venth glanced nervously at the Emperor. Your Highness, we already know your genetic condition. Further testing would be redundant. Ben realized that Dr. Venth was avoiding the testing because he knew what the results would show. The Zilithian medical establishment was deliberately hiding the truth about Princess Zira's genetics. Father, Princess Zira said, turning to face the Emperor directly, I want to see my original medical records from when I was diagnosed as a child. Zira, this is not the time for reviewing old medical files. It's exactly the time. Princess Zira's voice carried new strength and determination. If my genetic condition is truly a disability, then the original records will support that conclusion. The Emperor's expression grew stern. You will undergo genetic therapy immediately to reverse the damage caused by exposure to alien atmosphere. This discussion is over. No, Princess Zira said simply. The word carried the same authority it had earlier, but now it seemed to echo through the entire medical bay. Even the Emperor appeared taken aback by his daughter's direct refusal. No, he repeated. I refuse genetic therapy. I refuse to return to a sealed chamber. I refuse to accept that something that makes me feel alive and capable is somehow wrong. Ben watched as Princess Zira stood straighter, her voice growing stronger with each declaration. The transformation was remarkable, from a confined, isolated princess to someone claiming her own power and identity. Dr. Kim stepped forward. Your Majesty, there's something else you should know. These genetic variations aren't random mutations. They follow a clear hereditary pattern. If Princess Zira has these traits, others in your population do as well. The Emperor's face went completely rigid. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that there are probably thousands of Zilithians with similar genetic enhancements who have been classified as defective and hidden away. Ben saw the implications immediately. You're not treating a medical condition. You're suppressing an entire subpopulation of your own people. Dr. Venth moved toward the Emperor. Your Majesty, we should discuss this privately with your advisors. Yes, the Emperor agreed quickly. This conversation is inappropriate for alien witnesses. Princess Zira stepped between her father and Dr. Venth. These alien witnesses are the ones who discovered the truth. The truth you've been hiding from me my entire life. Zira, you don't understand the complexities of governing an empire. Then explain them to me. Princess Zira's eyes blazed with newfound confidence. Explain why people with enhanced capabilities are locked away instead of celebrated. Explain why genetic advantages are called disabilities. The Emperor looked around the medical bay at all the watching faces, human and Zilithian alike. Ben could see him calculating political implications and diplomatic consequences. The genetic variations cause social instability, the Emperor said finally. Those who possess them often question traditional authority structures. The admission hung in the air like a confession. Ben understood now. You're not protecting them. You're protecting your power from them. Princess Zira laughed, but it wasn't the joyful sound Ben had heard before. This laugh carried bitter realization and growing anger. My entire life has been a prison, she said quietly. Not to protect my health, but to protect the status quo. Dr. Kim cleared her throat. Your Majesty, Princess Zira isn't the only one affected by this. How many others are currently confined under similar medical pretenses? The Emperor refused to answer. Princess Zira turned to Ben. You asked me earlier why humans help strangers even when it costs them personally. I think I understand now. Because some things are more important than personal safety. Ben nodded. Sometimes doing the right thing changes everything. Princess Zira walked to the communication terminal in the medical bay. I want to send a message to all Zilithian colonies and outposts. Absolutely not, the Emperor commanded. I am still a princess of the royal house, she replied calmly. I still have the right to address our people. The Emperor moved to stop her, but Ben stepped forward. Your Majesty, she's not threatening your empire. She's offering to save it. What do you mean? Ben looked at Princess Zira, who nodded encouragingly. Your empire has been wasting its greatest resource. Instead of hiding people with enhanced abilities, you could be using those abilities for exploration, research, and expansion. Princess Zira could help you reach parts of the galaxy that are currently impossible to colonize. Dr. Kim joined the conversation. The genetic traits we've identified would be invaluable for establishing colonies in high radiation systems or planets with unusual atmospheric conditions. Princess Zira activated the communication terminal. I want to make an announcement to our people. Not as someone who is defective, but as someone who has discovered her true capabilities. The Emperor studied his daughter for a long moment. Ben could see the internal struggle playing out on his face, between political control and paternal pride, between tradition and opportunity. What kind of announcement? The Emperor asked finally. I want to establish a new branch of the royal service. A exploration and colonization corps for Zilithians with genetic variations like mine. Instead of hiding in chambers, we'll be expanding the empire to new worlds. Ben felt his heart skip. Princess Zira wasn't just refusing her imprisonment, she was transforming it into opportunity for her entire species. Dr. Kim smiled broadly. I'd be honored to help establish the medical protocols for such an endeavor. Human-Zilithian cooperation could benefit both our peoples enormously. The Emperor looked around the medical bay once more. When his gaze fell on Ben, his expression was unreadable. You, he said to Ben. What do you gain from this situation? Ben thought about the question seriously. Nothing, Your Majesty. I just fixed a power coupling and tried to help someone who needed it. And in doing so, you may have changed the course of my empire. That wasn't my intention, sir. But I'm glad Princess Zira is happy. Princess Zira smiled then, not the bitter laugh from earlier, but a genuine expression of joy and hope that transformed her entire face. Ben realized this was what the story had been building toward. Not just her physical freedom, but her emotional liberation from a lifetime of believing she was fundamentally flawed. "Father," she said, her voice warm with affection now instead of anger, "I want to make you proud. But I want to do it as myself, not as a hidden shame." The emperor's stern expression softened. "You have always made me proud, daughter. Perhaps it is time I showed that to our people." 3 hours later, Ben stood in the observation deck watching as Princess Zira broadcast her announcement to the Zilithian Empire. She spoke clearly and confidently about genetic diversity as strength rather than weakness, about exploration opportunities instead of medical limitations. Dr. Kim joined him at the viewing port. "You realize what you've started, don't you? Within a year, there will probably be hundreds of Zilithians coming forward to be tested for similar genetic patterns." Ben nodded. "And Princess Zira will be leading them to new worlds instead of hiding in a chamber. The Emperor announced that you're being awarded the Order of Galactic Friendship for your service to interspecies cooperation." Ben laughed. "All I did was fix a power coupling wrong. Sometimes that's all it takes to change the universe." On the screen, Princess Zira was concluding her announcement. She looked directly into the camera and smiled, that same transformative expression that had captivated Ben when he first saw it. "To those who have been told you are broken," she said, "you are not. You are the future of our people among the stars." Ben turned away from the screen as the broadcast ended. His supervisor approached with a new work assignment. "Power coupling malfunction in Section 12 Gamma," his supervisor said with a slight smile. "Think you can handle it without starting an interstellar revolution this time?" Ben picked up his tool kit. "I'll try to keep the diplomatic incidents to a minimum." As he walked toward his next assignment, Ben's communicator chimed with a personal message from Princess Zira. "Ben Torres," the message read, "thank you for showing me that sometimes the simplest acts of kindness can change everything. I will never forget that a human maintenance worker cared more about my well-being than my royal title. When I establish the first colony on Kepler 442b next year, you will be our honored guest at the founding ceremony." Ben smiled as he headed down the corridor. Tomorrow, Princess Zira would begin assembling her exploration corps from Zilithians who had spent their lives believing they were defective. Within months, they would be traveling to worlds that had been unreachable before. All because a power coupling had failed at exactly the right moment. As Ben rounded the corner toward Section 12 Gamma, he heard laughter echoing from the direction of the diplomatic quarters, the sound of Princess Zira planning expeditions to distant stars with newfound friends and colleagues who shared her enhanced abilities. It was the sound of transformation, hope, and endless possibility. And it had all started with a simple maintenance error and one human's decision to help a stranger in need.